Hello again. This is Nick Roach. We're outside again, it's a bit windy, so hopefully won't be too disturbed by that though. I want to speak about giving up your right to be unhappy. Giving up your right to be unhappy. When I first found Barry Long's teaching when I was 18 years old, that was the first lesson which I learned from him, the first point of his teaching, and he drummed it home pretty hard, and it's perhaps the most important point above everything else when doing this and following this. So I'd like to talk about it. So what do I mean? Well, imagine any time you feel unhappy or angry, jealous, frightened, worried. And someone was to ask you why you feel that way. And the common response is to say, because that happened. They did that to me. They did this to me. This happened, that happened. Especially if someone wants to say, well, can you let it go? No. There is a defense. A defending of your right. How it's absolutely right you should feel like this. Which is absolutely fine if you want to. It is your right to feel that way. You feel how you like. But the problem comes when you then, in the next breath, argue you don't want to feel unhappy any longer. You tell your friends or family or people at work that you don't want to be unhappy any longer. Or you contact someone like myself, a spiritual teacher who says you don't need to feel like this, and you ask, how can I stop? How can I make life a pleasure? Whilst at the same time holding on to your right to feel bad because someone else did something to you. Now the mind, the thinking, the attachment, attached self, loves this contradiction, loves it. You can feel bad while blaming everybody else for it, saying it's not your fault, but not prepared to let go of it because you have a right to feel that way. That jumbled mess, and then you wonder why you can't sort your life out, why your life's so difficult. You are holding on to your right to feel bad whilst denying any responsibility for feeling bad. Whose fault's that? So, the first thing is to give up your right to be unhappy. Or angry, or jealous, or frightened. Give up your right to feel bad. Now, I'm not talking about your right to respond to a situation. I'm not saying give up living and interacting with the physical world. And if you need to have an argument with someone, if you need to stand up for yourself, you need to defend yourself in any way, I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm responding or referring to the emotion inside itself. Not about taking action. In fact, if you don't take physical action, that's often why you feel bad. You haven't done something about it. And that is again the game the emotion plays. It would rather you sit there in your own self-made hell, feeling awful, whilst not taking action to stop feeling awful. Because it loves you to feel bad. The emotion loves feeling horrible, which is why you defend your right to feel that way. In truth, you're not defending your right to feel bad, the emotion is. And this can be self-evident when speaking with some people and they are trying to argue and defend their right to feel bad while saying they don't want to feel bad, and the whole argument becomes so nonsensical and ridiculous but they're not intelligent enough to see it, because what is speaking is the emotion. The emotion is taking over, defending itself, defending their right to feel angry and blaming me for suggesting they shouldn't be angry while saying they don't want to feel angry. Well, total lack of responsibility. So the first point, if you're ever emotionally disturbed, is to get there as fast as life will allow. You're there, you're conscious, you're aware of it. And the knowledge inside is, I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to feel bad. I'm not accepting this in me because I'm not having it. What can I do to get rid of this? Which is very different from, I feel like this because of what he did to me, so it's not my fault, I'm stuck with it, and I feel awful, and it's all his fault, and I hate him. And grow up. Really grow up. This is your life, your space, your choice. And you find that choice by connecting with the space that's watching, the stillness. And then you notice, I am here. I am fine. But I can see and I can feel this emotion squirming, and it feels horrible about what happened. But I am watching it. I'm not it, I'm aware of it. I'm not engulfed in it, I'm not lost in it, I'm not immersed, I'm not beside myself with anger. That's another one where someone, as the saying refers to, they're out of their body, they're unconscious, and like the emotion, like an entity moves in and takes them over. I don't know what came over me is another phrase. Well, if you were in your body, nothing came over you, because you were the one there, you were conscious. You never say things you don't mean if you're in your body, if you're conscious and aware and watching. You can say angry things if you need to, but you're not unconscious. You're not saying stuff you don't mean which you later regret, because you know what you need to say and you say it. And if you need to apologise for something, for saying it after the fact, that's fine. But at the time, you know you didn't lose control. You were conscious, nothing came over you. You weren't beside yourself. You weren't lost in grief. But chilly, actually my hands are cold, despite the nice sunshine. So we're connecting with the space. And we're keeping that space. The stillness, the knowledge I am, the knowledge of being aware of being aware. And we're not accepting anything in one space that disturbs that. I will not have anything in my body that interrupts and disturbs the stillness, the space, the being, which is love. I said that before. We think love is emotional love, when we get all excited, and then when the person's not there, we're all unhappy. Then we miss them, then we argue with them, then we hate them. None of that's love. Love is the conscious connection, the being, and then the other person reflects that same being back to you, and you're complete with them. And it doesn't last. Sorry. It doesn't end. It lasts. It's permanent. The conscious space of being complete, they reflect that. It doesn't end. That's love. And so that's where we're going. Putting the space, the stillness first. But if you're going to allow yourself, when you're unhappy, to defend your right to feel that way, please, if you can, as you're watching this, notice you're doing it, and notice that that is why you're stuck with it. Don't allow yourself, because it's very clever, to defend its right to feel bad, and at the same time try to claim it doesn't want to feel bad. Don't let that happen. Because you're creating your own mud hole whilst claiming you don't want it. You're pouring in all the mud in this hole, filling it full of water, rubbing yourself in it, saying, this is so awful, I don't know what to do. Just stop. Just say, I'm not getting in there. I don't want this. I'm not accepting it. What can I do to get rid of it? What can I do to get rid of this disturbance? And when you're in that intelligent mode, what can I do? You're looking directly at the emotion, at the feeling. By being still, the emotion, as I've always taught, it itself becomes conscious, it starts to dissolve, and you start to see clearer, is there any action you need to take? Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. And it might be there's nothing, but as you look, you start to see how you contributed to the situation. You actually caused it. You did that thing or said that thing to that person which upset them. They attacked you for it, and you're blaming them when you did it. But it's only by being conscious and looking at it consciously, what can I do, that this knowledge becomes clear. Then you can apologise, or just stay out of their way, or not do it again. It doesn't matter. What you do isn't the issue. It's by being conscious. You take the energy out of the emotion. Or sometimes there's nothing to do. It's enough that you watch it, and the emotion inside evaporates and it's gone. But if you defend your right to feel a certain way, and yet you're arguing you don't want to feel a certain way, you're deluding yourself and whoever else you're trying to claim you don't like feeling that way. This is about being responsible for yourself and your life, but living consciously. And I'm not saying it's easy, but it gets easier, and it's a darn sight easier than living in an emotional hell whilst thinking there's nothing you can do about it. Because there's very much something you can do about it. And this is it. Thank you.